For decades, the world has been told a story about Meghan Markle that reads like a fairy tale. A bright, ambitious girl from Los Angeles chasing dreams, landing in Hollywood, and eventually walking into the royal spotlight. It's a narrative polished to perfection, with each chapter carefully curated, each image strategically framed. But suddenly, cracks appear. Samantha Markle, Meghan's estranged sister, steps forward and doesn't whisper. She throws a single line into the mix that cuts through decades of crafted perception. She claims Meghan was not just a teenager with aspirations, she was a teenage wife. Not only that, Samantha insists Meghan already had a child before Hollywood ever opened its doors to her. To many, it sounds impossible, an exaggeration, or a fabrication. Yet when you examine the missing years in Meghan's early life, when you listen to the quiet voices surrounding the Giuliano family, when you peer at the sealed documents that never see the light of day, a story emerges that feels deliberate, hidden, and carefully buried. The claim lands like a stone dropped into still water, sending ripples through the timeline of Meghan Markle's life as the public has known it. According to Samantha, Meghan was married before Trevor Engelson ever entered the frame. In 1995, she had already stepped into the legal bounds of matrimony, and months later became a mother. Samantha's statement is never delivered with drama. It is a simple, declarative fact, yet its implications explode. The life we believed Meghan led, from high school graduation to college ambitions, from acting roles to royal life, suddenly has a hidden chapter. A chapter that tells of an 18-year-old girl already married, already responsible for a newborn. And this is where the missing year comes into focus. June 1994, Meghan graduates from Immaculate Heart High School. Her peers move forward: college, travel, internships, new experiences. Meghan claims a gap year, a time for self-discovery, a pause before Northwestern University. But all signs of this year are absent. No travel photos, no host family documentation, no airport receipts, no evidence of any structured program abroad. 12 months disappear from the public record, perfectly coinciding with the timelines Samantha alleges was spent married and expecting a child. This absence is not benign. In the world of Hollywood, of rising actors, missing time is noticed, and it raises questions. What happened in that black hole? How does it align so neatly with Samantha's assertions? Sources say the story begins quietly in Las Vegas, summer 1994, not the neon, tourist-filled Las Vegas portrayed on postcards, but a nearly invisible chapel off the Strip. It's here that Meghan Markle allegedly steps into marriage. The groom, Joe Giuliano, a young man from a traditional Italian-American family in Chicago, witnesses the start of a union unknown to the wider world. Two relatives allegedly stand as witnesses. There is no fanfare, no cameras, no public recognition. 30 minutes is all it takes. Paperwork, vows, signatures, and a marriage that history would forget begins. Later, records reportedly vanish. An annulment is filed and sealed, effectively erasing the marriage from public scrutiny. Clark County will neither confirm nor deny. The secrecy is extraordinary, raising questions. If it were just a teenage mistake, why is it hidden so carefully? Inside the Giuliano household, tradition dictates every choice: family first, loyalty demanded, secrets guarded. And yet Meghan, already ambitious, craves visibility, a life under the spotlight, in stark contrast to the closed world she married into. The collision of these values, tradition versus ambition, sets the stage for a story where secrecy and dreams collide. Months later, Meghan reportedly discovers she is pregnant. At 18, standing at the edge of the life she imagined, she now faces choices that will reshape her future forever. The child, a daughter, is quietly born in 1995, raised within the Giuliano family under strict silence. Meghan's journey toward public life continues elsewhere, leaving behind this chapter, erased but indelible, hidden in shadows where only a few remember. After the birth of Meghan Markle's alleged first child, life takes on the appearance of a clean slate. In Chicago, the little girl grows quietly, fully integrated into the Giuliano household. Neighbors see her at family gatherings, in playgrounds, and at school functions. She is part of the world, but never of the story. Her existence is officially invisible, untouched by media, unmentioned in public records, and shielded by promises of silence. Meanwhile, Meghan begins her deliberate reinvention. She enters Northwestern University that fall of 1995, stepping onto campus with the poise of someone who has already endured significant life events, yet carries herself as if the past never happened. No mention of a previous marriage, no acknowledgement of a child left behind, no whispers of a sealed annulment. To peers and professors, she is simply a young woman starting her academic journey, studying theater, forming new relationships, and laying the foundation for a Hollywood career. This duality defines much of what the public sees today. One life, hidden and secretive, nurtured in anonymity; another life, bold, ambitious, visible, and destined for fame. Meghan's transformation is complete, deliberate, and strategic. Every choice she makes from this point forward reinforces the narrative of a rising star, a self-made woman with no ties to a past that might distract, complicate, or challenge the story crafted for the world. It's a carefully calibrated image, one that protects the child in Chicago while simultaneously advancing Meghan's aspirations. This is not unusual in families, especially those navigating fame, privacy, and power, but in Meghan's case, it becomes foundational. The public knows the actress, the humanitarian, and later the Duchess. They do not know the first chapter, hidden behind sealed documents and unspoken agreements. Samantha Markle's revelations suddenly force a re-examination. Her voice disrupts the tidy timeline and casts shadows over what everyone assumed was a linear rise. By stating that Meghan was married and had a child in 1995, Samantha injects a narrative that challenges decades of careful curation. And the implications are broader than personal embarrassment. They touch on identity, legacy, and the selective storytelling that Hollywood, and later royalty, can rely upon. The secrecy surrounding the child and annulment raises questions. Why such extreme measures to conceal these events? What pressures were involved, and what compromises were made? Why is this chapter omitted from public interviews, biographies, and official statements? Each unanswered question strengthens curiosity and intensifies public intrigue. Meanwhile, the hidden child grows, unaware of the full scope of her mother's story. She carries Meghan's features, her eyes, her expressions, her bone structure. She is, in every visible way, a reflection of Meghan, yet the two have no documented connection. The secrecy of her upbringing creates a delicate tension. She exists fully in the world, but remains untethered from the narrative that surrounds her. For decades, this arrangement protects all parties. The Giuliano family honors the agreement, shielding her from public scrutiny, while Meghan builds a life moving forward in the bright lights of fame, charity work, and eventual royal life. And yet, the cracks remain. Time erodes secrecy. The careful curation of life stories cannot fully erase the past. Samantha Markle's statements, quiet for years, are now detonating this carefully managed narrative. They bring the invisible into focus and force the world to question how much of Meghan's polished story is complete and how much remains hidden. This isn't mere speculation. It's a collision of secrecy, ambition, and revelations that span decades. And the public, ravenous for new details, is now watching closely. Every interview, every memoir, every carefully framed photo must now be reinterpreted in light of this hidden chapter. The story doesn't end with the hidden child or the sealed annulment. It expands, influencing perceptions of Meghan Markle's life choices, her trajectory, and the narrative the world has long accepted. Publicly, Meghan's rise appears seamless: actress, humanitarian, media darling, and eventually royal. Privately, however, the reality is far more complicated. The existence of a first child, hidden for decades, reshapes the context of every step she took after 1995. Every career decision, every relocation, every high-profile relationship can now be viewed through the lens of a past carefully obscured. Samantha Markle's revelations aren't just gossip, they're a lens to reconsider the foundation upon which Meghan's public persona was built. The polished image, now, is not purely accidental. It is deliberately constructed, balancing ambition with discretion, visibility with secrecy. One of the most striking aspects of this story is the deliberate separation of lives. The child, raised quietly in Chicago by the Giuliano family, lives a life of ordinary privacy. She attends school, participates in family activities, and exists as a normal young woman, but always shadowed by her mother's presence, even from a distance. Observers note the uncanny resemblance to Meghan, which quietly confirms the connection for those paying attention. Yet she has never appeared publicly alongside her mother, and no documentation connects her to Meghan in official records. This duality, the public and private, the visible and invisible, forms a tension that has lingered for decades, patiently hidden until Samantha Markle's statement surfaced. The child's anonymity protects her, but it also intensifies the intrigue, making the revelation all the more explosive. Meanwhile, Meghan's public life continues to expand in ways that would have been impossible to anticipate in 1995. Every accomplishment, from television roles to humanitarian work, is now juxtaposed against this hidden chapter. The carefully curated narrative of a young woman ascending from a typical American upbringing to international stardom is no longer complete. It is layered, complex, and includes elements previously unknown: a marriage before the world knew her name, a child kept out of public view, and decades of meticulous management to ensure the story presented to the world remained uninterrupted. Samantha's account forces a reckoning with the notion that some aspects of celebrity life are orchestrated not just for career advancement, but for the management of personal secrets, sometimes extending across generations. Public reaction has been immediate and intense. Social media platforms are flooded with debate. Pundits, commentators, and royal analysts are re-examining timelines, scrutinizing biographies, and questioning the version of Meghan's life story previously accepted as fact. Every interview she has given, every documentary, every profile now demands reinterpretation. Viewers are left to reconcile the woman they see on screen with the layers of complexity revealed by Samantha Markle's statements. Curiosity about the hidden child is particularly intense, with speculation on her identity, upbringing, and current awareness of her mother's fame. Each unanswered question amplifies public fascination. Finally, the story raises a broader reflection about privacy, legacy, and the nature of narrative itself. Meghan Markle's story demonstrates how the public persona of an individual can diverge dramatically from private realities. It illustrates how strategic decisions, legal measures, and family agreements can erase chapters of a life, creating a seamless but incomplete timeline. Yet no secret remains buried forever. Samantha Markle's revelation, whether fully corroborated or partially speculative, proves that hidden truths have a way of resurfacing, reshaping perceptions, and altering legacies. For Meghan Markle, the past is no longer fully controllable, and the echo of 1995 now reverberates through her carefully constructed life story.